Welcome back, everybody, to the Insightful Podcast. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, Aiden. Aiden, how you doing today?
Pretty good, man. How about you?
Doing good, doing good. Excited for this episode. Excited to get to know Aiden a little more. And I just like jumping straight into it, bro. So, can you introduce yourself to the audience and explain who you are and what you do?
So my name's Aiden Scott. I guess I could call myself a bodybuilder now. But I've been working out for about 5 years. Played high school soccer, club soccer, and college soccer for a year and a half or so. I quit my sophomore year, and so now I've been doing bodybuilding since fall of my sophomore year, full time.
Okay, awesome. So you said there, oh, I can finally call myself a bodybuilder. Do you believe that you can only call yourself a bodybuilder if you can compete? I mean, if you've already competed.
I don't know, cause I've kind of talked about this like once or twice on my story. I don't really care. Like, I think, not to sound kind of stuck up, but you kind of have to have the credentials. Like, I don't go around calling myself a bodybuilder, but I guess technically I have competed. Like, I have the right to call it. But that being said, there's definitely a lot of guys with better physiques that have never stepped on stage. So I also think they have the right to call themselves a bodybuilder. My only kind of takeaway from that is that some people might not have what it takes to go through a prep itself, and like
Yeah,
that itself is just its own battle. So until you've done that, some people like can't handle that. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but like I had to go through that, so I've done the whole process. I think the growth phase, obviously you have to take it much more serious because it's much harder to put on tissue, but it's just a mental game going through a prep. So until you've done that, I feel like you can't really call yourself a bodybuilder. But that being said, people that are training for it, you know, I guess you can. You know what I
y-
mean?
for sure. I respect that opinion because I think maybe what you're trying to say is that there's like a difference between like doing bodybuilding and being an actual bodybuilder. Because it's exactly what you say. Like I've never competed before, but I train consistently. I try to eat the best, but I would never go around calling myself a bodybuilder because I've never competed. I've never been on stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference. I guess you could call yourself a bodybuilder, but calling yourself a competitive bodybuilder would
Mm,
mean that you step on stage, you've gone through prep, you actually compete. And that being said, I've only stepped on stage one time. I don't go around calling myself a bodybuilder. That's more of a friends and family thing that don't really get it would
yeah,
call me a bodybuilder, but in the fitness realm, I don't go around calling myself a bodybuilder because I don't feel I have, the physique to back it up completely yet. I'm getting there, but that's the goal.
for sure. All right, bro. My next question for you is what made you start bodybuilding and like who were you inspired by like once you got into it?
Um, I kind of started bodybuilding during COVID. Just kind of had a lot more free time. I was a soccer player, like I said, so it was more just so I could get stronger for soccer. I was working towards, hopefully getting a college scholarship, something like that, playing at the collegiate level. So I was just working out in order to be a stronger presence on the field, especially my position. I played center defensive mid slash like center back. That's kind of what I ended up playing in college. So you had to be a bigger guy for that, kind of control the field, be able to like body people around a little bit. Um, but I just had gotten like a 315 pound set from Dick's Sporting Goods, like barbell set, and I just picked up a few Facebook Marketplace pulls, some like adjustable dumbbells, and didn't really know what I was doing, but just kind of started cranking away like that. But I would say some of the inspiration, like once I got into bodybuilding, I definitely look up to some of the older guys like Dorian Yates. I like a lot. As of lately, Jordan Peters too. But yeah, a lot more influencers. I would say that's kind of what got me really into bodybuilding. Like back in the day, Sush and Alex Eubank, both of them, they really got me into lifting. I guess those two were probably, the most prominent on TikTok. Got my For You page, so kind of took their advice. Looking back at it, some of their advice wasn't
Hmm.
the best, but it got me started, and that's better than doing nothing or not really knowing what I was doing.
For sure. So when was the transition? Like, do you still play soccer? Like, when did you transition out from soccer into bodybuilding?
So my freshman year, I played college soccer. Did not go very well. We won one game. I played Division two, and then the second year we got a new coach midway. Like after that season, he had quit, and we got a new coach. Tried all spring to impress that new coach. Kind of ended up playing out of position, um, and just really don't think I made as much of an impression on him as I wanted. I was also always kind of sidetracked by bodybuilding. Like soccer felt like a hindrance to, you know, being able to progress in the gym and focus on that. So I had gotten my second knee surgery after that spring. I was dealing with a torn meniscus at the time. Didn't realize that it was a torn meniscus. Thought it was IT band pain. Um, but after that, I got surgery, and I said if I had to get surgery again, I'd be done. So kind of went through the motions, acted like I was going to play that next fall, but knew I was going to quit once I got fully cleared from my surgery and recovery. So once I got cleared, I decided I wanted to do one more real bulk and then compete in the next summer, which is what I did.
Nice. Was it a bittersweet moment having to give up soccer, or were you already so passionate about bodybuilding that it didn't feel like you were losing anything?
I mean, to be honest, my senior year was the last time I really cared about soccer, but that was because all my buddies from high school and stuff play soccer. We grew up playing soccer together, so I was much more passionate about that. So once I kind of got to college, after that high school season, I don't know. It was just kind of like a second thought. Like I wanted to focus on lifting and soccer. Being in soccer shape is, as a lot of people probably know, is pretty hard to do, especially to, be going through growth phases and stuff like that in bodybuilding. It's kind of hard to manage the two. So I
Yeah.
couldn't fully invest into lifting until I quit soccer. But I would say I'm much more passionate about bodybuilding, especially now. So didn't really feel like I lost anything. I kind of feel as passionate about bodybuilding now as I did about soccer, when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. That was my life back then, and I would say this is my life now.
That's great, bro, because I feel like some people they will leave something that they've been doing their whole life and they kind of feel in limbo for a while trying to find something to replace that thing. But like you're one of like the few examples that I've heard that kind of jumped into something new right away and fell in love.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a smoother transition just because I had been lifting for so long, just, kind of like half in, half out of it.
Yeah.
So it was a easier transition, but I do know a lot of like college athletes are pretty lost after their sport's over with because it's taken away from them as soon as their season's over. You got that one more time, your last game and that's game over. And then you could do men's league, women's league, and that's about it. But I do know a lot of people definitely get into lifting in general, sometimes bodybuilding, but that's, much more competitive, obviously.
For sure. So when did you like say into your own mind that you wanted to compete competitively with bodybuilding? Because like we were kind of speaking before, a lot of people just like, show up to the gym, have the diet, whatever, but they never actually end up competing, even if they have good physiques. What made you want to actually compete?
I mean, it was always something in high school. Like I said, when I was playing soccer, I was like, at some point, I want to try it just because I was kind of in love with lifting. But it was more like, because I lift so much, I might as well try it at some point, not because I wanted to do bodybuilding per se.
Hmm.
But I didn't really start taking everything super serious until I started prep last year, last spring. Started January 1st. That was a New Year's resolutioner, pretty much. Um, but
But you
I
actually fell through with it. You didn't quit.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's kind of when I started working with my coach Dylan, and that kind of made the biggest change. I got a program from him. Before that, it was just kind of like on my own. I had gone through phases of like weighing food out and stuff and tracking like on an app.
Let's take a quick break to speak about the sponsor for the podcast. I am now working with a company called Attilius Apparel, and if you want Christian fitness wear that looks like this, or this, click the link in the description. Now let's get back into the podcast.
But I kind of like wavered away through that. Not because I over fixated on it necessarily, but because I just kind of thought I could feel it around. And that turned into a pretty sloppy bulk. I had cut too without tracking anything. It just took a lot longer. Much more efficient to be consistent with your diet, be on a meal plan, and I like it because I don't have to think about what I'm eating that day. I keep the same stuff for the most part. Here and there, I'll change a few things up, but it's much easier this way.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess walk me through that prep, the first prep, and kind of like your mindset going throughout it. Like, was there anything that you didn't expect, or did you kind of expect everything? Like the last 4 weeks, how difficult was it?
So honestly, it was a pretty brutal prep, I would say, because I started pretty heavy. I talked to my coach, a few months ago, and we had talked about like if I were to just cut and get back to a healthy body fat percentage, it would have been much longer. So going through a prep, even though looking back on it, wish I was a little bigger on stage, was just kind of the smart move to go about it. Just get all that fat off and start building from the base up. Um, but it was just a lot of cardio, really steep deficit because I had to lose so much. I think I ended up losing about 60 pounds ish. I
Damn.
went from 230 to 171 fasted day of show. So that was my lowest, was day of show. Um, but honestly, I just kept telling myself like that it wasn't that bad, or it could be worse. I thought it would be much worse. And looking back at it, I did feel pretty crappy. But honestly, it in the moment I was just kind of psyching myself, and you don't want to feed into, oh, I feel like crap. There were some days obviously, but I always got my cardio done. It honestly made me much more time efficient. I was doing 2 anatomy classes that semester, which if anyone watching this knows about anatomy classes, they know how hard that can be. A lot of memorization of all sorts of different body parts and down to like the cellular level. Um, but it just made me time efficient. I was on the elliptical, studying my anatomy, getting my lifts in, going to meal prep stuff. I wasn't working at the time, so that was definitely a help. It'd be a little bit harder to manage now, like with my work schedule, but yeah.
Damn. So were you always kind of like someone that was very disciplined, like because of soccer, or was it something that built even further because of the prep?
The discipline definitely kind of started to roll in with prep. Like I would say I was pretty disciplined beforehand because obviously to build some muscle you got to be pretty consistent with sleep, eating. Like I always hit my protein goals, stuff like that. But diet was kind of a little all over the place. On prep, obviously, I literally was like completely locked in for all 6 months until after that. It was a little hard to get back on track after show, as it is for most people, but especially after your first show. Didn't really know what to expect. But the discipline was kind of built in prep, I would say, especially diet stuff. That's kind of where it gets kind of hard. And cardio. I was not an avid cardio guy prior to prep, and then I had to be. I always just kind of use soccer as my cardio. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But and that worked out, I guess. But
I see for sure. So did that discipline kind of like you're saying, like once the prep finished, did you still have that kind of like very strong discipline and the ability to wake up and like get after it in other areas of your life, or still just with fitness and all those things?
I would say it definitely translated to my life. I'd say it's a little more fitness based, but I still I get my homework done as soon as I can for the most part. I making sure I'm getting to work on time. Everything's pretty orderly. I have to stick to my bodybuilding plan, so that kind of motivates me to stick to everything else in my life, just so that I can continue to make time for that because it is so important to me, just like mentally, physically. So I want to make sure that continues to work. So I wake up early, I go to the gym and do cardio before class so I can get to class on time. Just kind of sets my days up right.
For sure. So when did the whole social media thing start for you, and like what was your reason for even starting in the first place?
I started social media junior year of high school, I believe. It was in the summer, I think, but it was just kind of to keep me accountable. Honestly, that was really all I did. And then obviously I got my fair share of crap from high school friends and classmates, but that kind of comes along with it. that happens to a lot of people. I know I've heard like Casey Kelly talk about that. Everyone makes fun of you in high school for it, and then once I got to college, it kind of no one really cared or people thought it was cool. But it didn't really gain any traction. That wasn't really the goal. It was really just to kind of keep me honest about it, I guess, and like be able to look back because I've deleted a lot of my old physique pictures, stuff like that, just because I don't have camera storage, honestly. But I can still look back all the way at the bottom of my Instagram account and TikTok account and kind of see, where I've started. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I guess like when it gained traction, what was kind of like your reaction to it?
It was definitely cool. Like I said, it wasn't really the goal. It's kind of what I tell some of the younger guys that are asking how to blow up on social media. I don't think that should be your number one priority, but it kind of just came along. I think TikTok was my freshman year of college. It kind of started to get some stuff. I was just posting like posing videos, stuff like that, a little bit of like lifting content, just because I wanted to motivate other people. Obviously, my physique has grown since then, and I still don't think I have the best physique, but you know, getting any sort of kids invested into the gym is just it makes me pretty happy, that I could inspire just a few people.
So you feel like that's your purpose now with social media is to just try to inspire as many people as you can?
Yeah, I would say that's kind of my primary goal. Now I feel I have an obligation now
Mm.
because I have been posting for so long. Sometimes I wish I didn't have to, continue posting just because I like to focus on my workouts. And I take a little bit of a break sometimes. Like there might be a little like lull in my content just because I'm in the gym focusing on actually growing. Bodybuilding is my number one goal, and then social media. That's kind of a second thought. If I have time for it, I have time. That's why half of my content is just posing or just working sets because I already have to take those videos, send them to my coach, make sure form's good. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Um, but I also don't have a lot of buddies to film, so that makes it easier because then I don't have to focus about it. I can just take care of it later. When I'm back home, sometimes I have my buddies film with me, and then I send them clips, and then I have clips of myself. But um, if I don't really have that option, then I just focus on my workout.
Yeah, no, I agree, bro. Like filming and like making content within itself, like once you start to gain traction and you have some form of like platform, it does feel like an obligation. Like you have to do it when you started, it was kind of just something you did. Because I don't know about you, but do you have any plans to like do you look at like a specific number? Oh, I want to reach this number on my account. I want to help this many people, or not really?
I mean, I try not to get like caught up in that. Obviously, it's inevitable to some degree, but I like hitting even numbers. I'm kind of like that in the gym too, like working my way up to a 4 plate RDL. So I want to hit that 4 plates because it's just cool. You know what I mean? I don't do a lot of compound lifts anymore. So just even plate numbers, stuff like that. On Instagram, I was at 25K. I've actually lost like 1,000 something followers, which so be it. It's obviously it got to me a little bit, but oh well. If people don't want to follow me, they don't have to follow me. Um, Same thing with TikTok. Like I would like to hit 45 or 50K. That'd be cool, and at some point it'll happen, but I'm not in a rush to get there. You know what I mean?
For sure. So it seems like what you kind of see on your Instagram, like how like consistent you are and disciplined you are with your training, it kind of like shows that you care much more about bodybuilding and being a better bodybuilder than the social media.
Yeah, that would definitely be, that's my number one priority is bodybuilding. Social media is just kind of a benefit. Like I am grateful for what it's given me. I have conversations with all sorts of younger guys. I try to help them out, and that's fulfilling to me because I was also them at one point, and I was that kid. I probably was DMing Sush and Alex Eubank, like just wanted a response. So if I could be
Hmm.
that guy for other people, which I feel like I am sometimes, I give them what I didn't have when I was a beginner or like starting from the bottom.
For sure. What was like, I guess, the hardest thing like when it came to like building your physique and I guess growing your social media? Was there any like times you dealt with self doubt and all these things? And What was kind of like the biggest battle that you were going through that whole journey?
Um, with TikTok stuff, I don't know. I wasn't like super concerned with numbers. Like obviously I got a pretty big dopamine rush when I had a video do really well. I still do. That still happens. When I get a video do really well, I get excited about it and I check it and reply to all the comments and stuff. Um, but sorry, what was the first part of that? I forgot.
It was like kind of like, was there any like mental battle throughout either like bodybuilding or social media that you had to like overcome to like
Oh,
get where you are today? I guess I should have said it better.
no, no, you're good. I forgot the first part of it. I mean, mental battles that kind of happens a lot. Like right now, my biggest mental battle is not progressing. Like I progress. Like today, for example, I've progressed on every lift except my incline hammer strength chest press, and that not that it ruins my day, but I'll be thinking about that till next Monday, and I'm gonna hope I progress that time. Um, but just kind of, I guess, body dysmorphia. That's pretty common. It's probably a pretty typical answer. I'm still dealing with that. That's obviously not as bad. I'm very happy with how far I've come, but I'm not anywhere near where I want to be. So in a sense, it's pretty motivating because I still want to improve and get consistent. And I've seen the progress I can make in a year, in 6 months. And that was when I wasn't very consistent with stuff. So now I'm pretty new to being consistent with diet stuff. So it's kind of given me like a sense of newbie gains again. I feel like every time I make a tweak, I've progressed pretty quickly. Just cleaning up little things at a time.
Nice. So you're the type of person that's constantly trying to seek improvement and not even just seek improvement, but find a way to like spark that improvement. Like
Yeah,
if something's not working, you'll try to find why it's not working.
yeah. I mean, having a coach definitely helps troubleshoot stuff like that. Like I wasn't progressing on two of my chest movements, and we've kind of found that I feel like my chest can't handle a ton of volume. I'm not a big advocator for a ton of volume, but that being said, like there is a threshold where you can recover from, some people can recover from more volume. And if you can, that's a good thing because that's more stimulus. But my chest can't handle the 3 sets, so I had to drop it down. But that seems to do the trick.
I see, for sure. So what are your goals with bodybuilding, I guess like short term and then long term? Like where do you see like your bodybuilding career a year from now and where do you see it 5 years from now?
To be honest, I haven't thought a ton about that. I'm trying to kind of live in the moment. Obviously, I have. So I want to I'm taking at least two, probably more like 3 years off from competing. So it'll be almost a year next summer. And then probably another two, maybe 3 years after that. I'm not in a rush to compete again, just because I got stage lean and I liked, I have a few pictures and videos and stuff that I really like how I look, but for the most part I wasn't big enough, so I don't want to step on stage again until I know I'm going to win that show. You know what I mean? So I got to take the time necessary, especially naturally, to really grow before I step on stage again. But 5 years down the road, hopefully I can start thinking about getting a pro card. That'd be the end goal, obviously. But that's ways away. Bodybuilding is a pretty like it's an older guy's sport. It takes a lot of time to build a really good physique. And to be honest, I'm still a baby in the sport. Most of us are. We've only been lifting 5 years. You're not even anywhere near your potential yet.
Yeah. Why do you think there's so much rush with like building the ultimate physique? You think it's just social media or just people's pressures on themselves?
Definitely. Um, I think social media, and I think it's good and bad, but like you're so exposed to like the best physiques, out there. It's such a small niche population too. If you walk around, even if you've been lifting a year, you probably have a better physique than half the people that you pass day to day.
Mm-hmm.
But even in your gym, like I would say I have a pretty decent physique for people at my gym. Obviously, there's people much bigger than me or around me, but like then I go on social media and compare myself, and I'm not even anywhere near where I want to be. Plus, it's also not very honest. I obviously like I use lighting and stuff like that, but it accentuates you. It makes you look a lot bigger than you really are, or a lot more vascular. Um, but in real life it's not really like that. I still try and post some of my like check-in photos with like a bright LED light on me, because that's a more real representation. No pump, just waking up in the morning and fasted.
Yeah, I feel like when influencers and people that post do that, I feel like it's very beneficial to like the average person because you're seeing them for like who they really are, right? Because yeah, like I wouldn't say lighting or anything is cheating like when you're posting, but it definitely does make you look way different as if I just saw someone walking down the road, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would like to think I look pretty good in person, but obviously I use lighting. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I would never Photoshop. That's kind of where I draw the line. Lighting is fair game. Try not to be crazy with the lighting. Some people like they really drag that light bar down on the camera app, but yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I guess veering away from bodybuilding a bit and trying to get to know you a bit deeper, what is like one thing you struggled with like a lot and you kind of overcame that maybe someone listening right now could help them like your story?
I would say, so my junior year, my dad passed away. Um, he passed away in April, so it's like a month ish after my birthday. But obviously, that was pretty hard and still kind of has some like lingering effects just in my personal life. Um, so I think what kind of helped me the most is obviously I would take my dad back in a second. But it's kind of made me the man I am today, and in a way, I'm grateful for it. Obviously, like I said, I would take that back in a second, but my life hasn't wouldn't have unfolded the way it has now. And obviously, I've done some things I regret, just like picking what college I went to, continuing soccer, stuff like that, just career kind of options. But I think getting into like my own routine and just focusing on bettering myself in as many ways as possible really kind of dug me out of like a dark time. Um, could have done some other things better, like just being there for family. But everyone's kind of got to deal with it in their own way.
Hmm.
So obviously the gym was kind of my outlet. I don't I don't think the gym is like I sometimes it's therapeutic, but obviously I just like lifting. Like it's something I enjoy. So I just invested a lot of time and stuff like that. Kept my same routine, kind of fully dived in to like pursuing more of a bodybuilding type role in the gym.
Yeah. So I see it's kind of like you still like built a routine and stuck to it and it kind of like allowed you to focus on your own development as a person.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was definitely hard, but just kind of better. I've tried to better myself in all sorts of ways. Like it sounds silly, but like that's kind of why also I'm like a stickler about my health stuff for the most part. I was a little more into that on prep just because I really had to be locked in the diet. I still take my weekly cheat meal, but for the most part, my cheat meal is steak or sushi. So, a healthier option. But like the the utensils I use, like I try and use like cast iron, stainless steel, try to stay away from chemicals and stuff like more natural things. Not that that's make or break necessarily, but just because of like genetics and my dad passed away from a heart attack essentially, like due to bad diet, stuff like that. And he was in relatively good shape. Like he wasn't super big. Like he could go out and run a 7 minute mile just because he had ran cross country and track his whole life, but obviously was a little out of shape, and that kind of ultimately led to the complications. So being like a stickler about diet for the most part is that's it's kind of a one of my I guess core values, and like I try and preach it to family and friends that might also benefit from cleaning up their diet and improving their health just because I've seen what it can do and I don't want that to happen to them.
For sure. Yeah, the fact that you're saying that sushi and steak is like a cheat meal, a lot of people
Yeah.
would disagree. They're like, that's not really that much of a cheat.
Yeah, well, I don't think everyone has to, do what I do and weigh it out. Like I know it makes some people, like family and friends, like annoyed that, I weigh everything out and I'm pretty strict about my diet and you don't have to do that. Um especially if you're not doing bodybuilding. But if you're just going to the gym, even if you want to be a bodybuilder, you can get away with, like, you can have steak every day if you want. I'm not opposed to something like that. Steak is a health food, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
for me, it's not accounted for macro wise, calorie wise. So that is it's more of a free meal. That's what my coach calls it, but cheat meal, it's same thing.
For sure. So I guess in what kind of ways are you like you started to focus on improving yourself in like all aspects, like besides the gym, training, and diet?
I mean, I would say I kind of get complacent um with, like, when I didn't have a job, especially with school. I would get kind of nervous to start something new, and then I look back at it. I'm kind of thinking about that right now because I'm hoping to settle into like a real career in the next 1 to 2 years. Like right now, I'm starting like online coaching under my own coach as his assistant technically, but I'm a
Nice.
little nervous about starting that. But every job I've started, obviously, I've gotten adjusted to and used to over time, and then I end up doing a good job at it. Like right now, I'm working at Jersey Mike's, which not where I want to be in a few years, but I put my all into it, and like I just try and bring like a good work ethic to everything in my life, and I think the gym's kind of taught me that. Same with school. Like I really try and lock down on my studying, especially with some of the harder classes.
100%. How many like how long do you have left of school?
So right now I'm a junior. I'm a little behind because I was transferred midway through sophomore year, and then just kind of like I had failed one class freshman year, a chemistry class. I'm not a very good chemistry guy, um, but I have a year and a half ish. I think I would graduate next, not this summer, but the next.
So now that you're like I guess balancing the new position as being assistant, the job, school, bodybuilding, everyone always like struggles with like consistency. Like what advice would you give to someone that's trying to be like more consistent in everything in their life?
To be honest, I wish I had some really good advice, but it really just comes down to like how bad do you want it. Obviously, it can be hard sometimes. There's days I don't want to lift. I didn't sleep well. Like this morning, I didn't sleep great last night, so didn't really want to lift. But once I'm in there, you're not gonna regret it. You're not gonna regret going and getting your workout in or going and studying for your tests. Like you really just got to have the willpower and the discipline. It comes down to discipline, I think, and that's kind of something that the gym has taught me. Like it really just made me like condense my days, kind of like break it up and get everything done I really need to get done.
For sure. It gave you just structure to like plan out a basically a successful day where like
Exactly.
you could go to sleep and feel like I did everything I needed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, I don't want to really feel like I slacked off. Like the other day, I was really crunched for time. Don't like doing that a ton, but like meal prepping between class and like getting it done within 5 minutes, getting to work like exactly on time, instead of a little earlier, like I usually like to do. But I got it done, and at the end of the day, I can finally relax and say that I did everything in my power to, you know, make that day productive.
100%. So my next question, bro, is what is one thing that people might not know about you that like follow your page? Like it could be anything.
Man.
It could be like an interest, a hobby or something, or it could be just something about you that maybe you don't showcase on your page.
I mean, I don't know. I am pretty into cars and trucks. My truck's pretty important to me because it was my dad's before he passed. I'm not super. I don't know too much about him, but obviously it's something that kind of like a gap that I'm trying to fill because my dad was a big car guy. And like he did try to teach me stuff growing up, but I didn't really pay attention to it that much. I wish I could now. Um, but I don't know. My family and friends are really important to me. I like spending time with them as much as possible. Like going on vacations are is like my favorite thing to do. I always try to go to New York City with my two best friends from back home, and go watch a Yankee game every year. I just like routine, but some of the some of the more exciting things in life, I guess. Like I like traveling. I want to try and go to Arnold Classic. Try new experiences. Go to different countries, like Toronto. um, but yeah,
You've been there before? Like, have you been here before?
no, I'm not. I haven't been to Toronto yet.
Oh, nice.
But
Okay.
I went to Niagara Falls once when I was like a little kid. But that's about
Yeah,
it.
that's
Wait,
about it.
actually, I have a question. Do you know? Do you think did you go to the U.S. at all?
No, I actually haven't been before.
Okay. I got to get across the border. I don't have an enhanced license for like New York, and then but I have my birth certificate and my ID. I think that's good enough to get across.
I see. So I didn't even know what an enhanced license is.
It's like so basically you like pay an extra like 30-50 bucks I think, and it counts. It's going to be mandatory in the United States to get across Canada or like the Mexican border, Mexico border. Um but it's just like another passport kind of thing, I guess. Because you can use your passport to get across, or I don't have passport that's valid. So
Oh, that's why.
yeah, but I think I'm good with birth certificate. I think that's what it says
For
online.
sure. So yeah, just try, bro. And I guess if it doesn't work, you're gonna have a drive back, but you'll
Yeah,
be good, bro. And you're going for how long? 4 days? 3 days?
just I'm coming up on Saturday and leaving Monday, I think. So just
Nice.
like a day or two.
Awesome. And you're excited?
Yeah, just kind of want to tour around, see this CN Tower, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of walk around. I just like go. I love cities, so I'm not in Buffalo directly, but I was just. I don't know. I like being in the city. That's why I love New York. Try and visit as much as I can.
Yeah. There isn't that many good bodybuilding gyms here except for like Pure Muscle. You probably
Yeah.
know Pure
Well, they
Muscle, yeah.
just they just opened Pure Muscle in Buffalo. I'm not,
Oh, they did?
yeah, like literally 2 months ago, but I haven't tried it out yet.
Nice. The equipment looks insane there, bro.
Yeah, that's my gym is mostly Arsenal equipment, and that's kind of what they are. So it's not like really worth going to check out. Plus, it's just like kind of stupid, but like different machines, so I wouldn't be able to track it as well. Like it's not
True.
gonna be the same weight, but
Yeah, for sure. All right, bro. I got one last question for you, and then we could close it out. I ask this question to every single person, and that's Aiden. How do you want to be remembered?
um, I just want to be remembered for inspiring a generation of younger guys, that want to better themselves and kind of give their all in life. I want to inspire them to, not only better themselves in the gym, but mentally, spiritually, like in their relationships in life, in their careers. And if I do that just through the gym, that's all I could really ask for. But I just want to be remembered as an overall good guy, that inspired a few people. And if I can have a lasting impact on someone's mindset or life, that's all I could really ask for.
Awesome, bro. It seems like you already like knew the answer to that question. You've like thought about it before.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of my motivation for social media stuff still. Like I try to get back to everyone's DMs and just kind of help them out if I have time. Um, yeah, but I just kind of want to help kids that were in my boat at one point. Because I know what it's like to kind of start from the bottom. And I want to help them hopefully get to where I am and surpass me.
For
That's the
sure.
goal.
Awesome, bro. Is there anything else you want to say before I close it out?
Mm, not really. No, I think I covered most of what I want to get across.
Awesome, bro. All right. So to everyone listening, this has been a great podcast, and thank you for making it this far. Thank you, Aiden, for the podcast today.
Of
It was
course.
great
For
to
having me.
yeah to get to know you and learn a bit more about bodybuilding and natural bodybuilding, and even like understanding the amount of like consistency and discipline you have. So hopefully, someone listening could take some inspiration from that.
Thanks for having me.
For sure, bro. So to everyone listening, remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.